Hey everyone, good morning and welcome aboard, Braden. It looks like we've got you with us along with some others, so fantastic. I hope you've been having a good week, and actually, I really hope you've been having a good week. Hold it. Is this thing going to start flashing on me again? I have issues with OBS and my system here every once in a while. We'll see if it starts flashing. Otherwise, I might just, yeah, it's going to start flashing. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm just going to come right over here and I will turn off my, my camera so that that does not become overly distracting. Let's see, that's not going to work. Let's come over here. That's not going to work. Don't worry, we'll find a way to make this work, folks. We'll find a way to make this work. All right, let's turn you off right there. Okay, so that's turned off, but you can still hear me. But if I come over here, yeah, and it's just that stupid little thing there. I apologize, everyone. Sometimes a system works and sometimes a system doesn't, right? And I even rebooted my system and everything to get it to work right, but it's not going to play ball, which just means you don't have to look at my ugly mug for the next while. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Aaron and Brian and Liz, great to have you with us. Fantastic. Hey, we're going to have a relatively short lecture today. As you know, this week and next week, we are really working on coming together in teams. And so what I want to do to start off with is I want to, let's see, let's come on over here. I'll be able to, oh, no. Let's come back here. I'm trying to get my little, oh, it's not going to give me a highlighter. Interesting. No highlighter, but I have a laser. All right, cool. Hey, Matt, I want to ask this, and here's the question that we'll go ahead and play with here to get us started. What is the difference? I'm going to put it in the chat. What is the difference between a group and a team? So what is the difference between, misspelling, between a group and a team? Okay, so go ahead and put in the chat here what you think the difference between a group and a team is, and let's go ahead and play with that for a little while. All right, let's try that out. Okay, let me come on over here. I know it doesn't look fantastic, but I want to be able to talk with you, and this camera's not working. So we're going to use that camera. So I'm way the hell over here. But you can still hear me, so it's cool. Okay, hey, so you know the spiel. You've already racked up the 10, but let's play with these. So check this out. So group any gathering of people, right? A group can be 2 or more people, but just a gathering. Nice, okay? Aaron says groups may or may not have a common goal or objective, while a team comes together for a very specific goal and objective, right? Now, yes. Now, a group can have an objective, right? It can have an objective like we're going to get together and we're going to go to a movie, or let's meet up and go to dinner, that sort of thing. It's hard to call going to a movie or having dinner an objective, right? Whereas teams, it's a little more hardcore, right? We're going to touch upon that. Let's see, group or people getting together, team, such as, trope, such as toy. A group, let's see, a group all does their individual part and then comes together, where a team works together as a team. It's funny, we use team to define team. It's all right. I like that. A group, everybody contributes individually, but then comes together to add their contributions, whereas a team is together doing it. Interesting idea. I like it. Riley, a team is multiple people who are working together to reach a common goal. Reach a common goal. Okay, so a group can get together to go to dinner or go to a movie, but it's not like that's a goal that you're reaching for. Whereas a team, there's kind of this inference that you have to actually collaborate and work together and struggle and overcome obstacles to reach that goal. Okay, all right, I like it. Group is a cluster of people. Teams are people who are working together. I like it. Anastasia, members of a team committed to the goals and to each other. Ooh, check it out. Committed to the goal and to each other. I like that. And then, yeah, I forgot the music, right? Yeah, the music adds to the question answer session. Yeah, I totally missed it, right? You notice things are a little discombobulated for me today. My system isn't working. My internet wasn't working a moment ago, and my Dropbox wasn't working, and then my music I didn't have turned on. That's all right. We're gonna make it work. Okay, so let's come back to our PowerPoint here, right? Now, you guys, you know the spiel. And I'm going to be able to do it backwards. We got at least 10,000 comments. We got 10 contributors, right? And we're going to get, trust me, some real world examples. So you know the deal here, folks. Right away, we've got our 10s. You guys are really, really solid engagement. Show solid engagement. That's really cool. So you know the deal. Send me an email later on with the timestamp. What is it? 8:38. If you just send me an email later saying 8:38, then I will totally take care of you because you're taking care of me. And I'll go ahead and put that in the comments there. 8:38. Okay. All right. So let's come back over to this with my laser instead of my ink because it's not loving the ink today. Again, my system having issues. What the heck? Okay. So you guys really got this right. Okay? 2 or more people who interact with, this is a group. 2 or more people who interact with members on either side, either individual or network basis, to share some common goals, right? And like you said, it's just people who interact. They're individuals. They share some sort of common goal, like go to a movie, right? They're governed by formal rules and unspoken norms as a system of attitude, as a system of attitudes and behavior. Okay, so check this out. I'm going to come back over here for a sec. We are all a group, all of us, okay? We're not a team. There's a difference. You guys have pointed this out, right? We're a group. We are part of a formal group. We're going to talk more about that in just a second here. We're all part of a group because we belong to this class, this section, and we have some common goals of getting an A, passing the class. I don't like to say pass the class because that sounds so apathetic, right? You want a good grade, and you're going to get a good grade, right? So you want an A, you want to learn a few things, you want to be able to apply it to the real world, you want to have some fun if you can. These are common goals. However, you're pursuing them individually as part of this group, right? Once again, you guys pointed this out. I'm not reading from a textbook. I'm reading from your comments, and they're spot on. We're all part of this group, and you're pursuing, even though they're common goals of getting an A, you're pursuing them individually, right? Okay, good. So we're a group. Let's keep going, though. Now, there are two different kinds of groups. We've got formal groups governed by formal structure and an organization, right? So, for example, we are a formal group. We're a formal group because this group is put together by Salt Lake Community College, an accredited institution of higher learning. We're all part of section, BUS 2200 dash something like 403 or something like that. I don't know, I forget. Fall 20, yeah, it is fall. Fall 21. This is a formal group. This is a formal organization. But again, we're approaching it individually, right? All right, let's keep going. So that's what we are. However, there are informal groups. You guys, and this is where we're going to rack up some real world example points, okay? Because I want you to tell me what kind of informal groups do you belong to? Informal groups based around common interests, habits, maybe hobbies, and personal traits. These groups fulfill needs that cannot be fulfilled when we're alone, such as affiliation, attraction, activities, assistance and proximity. So with this in mind, sure, we could go deeper, but I want to see how you interpret this. What kind of informal groups do you belong to? Tell me what informal groups you are a member of. Okay, groups that you just share common interests or hobbies, habits, personal traits. You're there because you want affiliation, attractive activities, things like that. Tell me what you have in terms of informal groups. And these will be real world examples. Okay, we've got a couple here, so let's go ahead and rack up a couple of real world examples, 3 real world examples. More are coming. I know there's a delay. I totally get that. So, cars for kids. Yes, absolutely. A nonprofit sort of charity thing. Those are great examples. Brooke brings up the gym or the boxing community. Yeah, just going to the gym, those are your peeps, right? Maybe you know some of the people, maybe you don't. Maybe you go with a friend every once in a while. The boxing community, definitely, right? If you are into boxing, I would think, especially as a female, I'm speaking totally through my hat. I am speculating 100%. But I would think that that's a tight-knit, supportive community. So that is an informal group because it's not sanctioned by any, unless you actually belong to an actual club where you pay dues and there's, things like that. Okay. Yes, SBA, I believe, Aaron, you may be referring to Small Business Association. That's what I think of when I hear SBA, but correct me if I'm wrong. It could be all kinds of things, right? This is why acronyms get a little tricky. Curse of knowledge, right? Very good. There. Okay, I got it right. Yay! Huzzah for me. All right, very good. So we all belong to informal groups and formal groups. But as you know, a group is not a team. So let's get into teams. All right. And to do this, I think what I'm going to do is I'm probably, because I got to move some things around, I'm going to come on down here. And because there's nothing there, we'll be able to see through it. That's actually kind of convenient in a strange way. All right. Teams are different, though, right? You guys know this. Teams are where you work together for a somewhat long-term objective, long-term being relative, of course, but a real objective that you need to reach for, that you need to strive for, and you're committed to the objective as well as to each other. And another thing about teams that has not come up yet is everybody is contributing their specific skills, right? So, for example, if you look at sports teams, there are different positions, right? There's, like in basketball, there's a point guard and, well, 4 other positions. I don't know, right? I don't know basketball. I don't know anything about that stuff. But in any case, the point is that even in sports teams, everybody kind of fulfills a specific role, all right? So what's the advantage of working together as a team? Well, overcoming limitations of specialization. Okay, overcome limitations of specialization. This is one of those cases of where we're using fancy speak. What does it mean? It means, hey, listen, if you want to accomplish something big, and I mean big, we're talking going to Mars or building a building or something like that, you need all kinds of skills and specializations committed to the cause, right? Because you can't do everything. You can't do everything. And so to overcome limits of specialization means, listen, you've specialized in something. Great, fantastic, you should. But that means you can't really do these other things. So you bring together people with diverse specializations, all things that you need brought to the table to accomplish whatever you're doing. And so that's what I mean by different positions on a sports team, right? Point guard and whatever. Oh, by the way, yes, family totally works as a group. By the way, family can also be formal or informal. Kind of depends, right? So point guard, defense, offense, I don't know. Somebody lists the 5 positions in basketball. I'm sure there's some basketball geek out there who knows the 5 positions. Point is, each one of them specializes, and you need everybody to get the job done. So that is, here we go. That's what we mean by overcome limitations of specialization. Another one is to challenge and encourage each other. So think about this. Think about when you've been on a team in, say, high school or maybe college, right? We do have basketball. Actually, yeah, although she's not with us right now, we have somebody on the women's basketball team at Salt Lake Community College in our class. So, when you're on teams, you push each other, you encourage each other, you lend support to each other, you commiserate, you coach, you mentor, you challenge, you push, right? This is a really, really awesome function of teams because, I'm going to tell you something, folks, and I'm not just saying this to be liked, okay? I want to be very clear about this. You are so much better than you think you are. You are so much better than you think you are. And the secret to getting that betterness out of you is not, be more disciplined or practice more self-positive talk. Those are good things. It's good to be disciplined and practice self-talk and so forth. But the way to really bring out your better is to find people who encourage, support, and challenge and push you, because they're going to help you find out just how good you can become. This is a big driver of teams, okay? So by the way, Matt, it's point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, center. Thank you, Matt. All right, there they are, right? Yes, very good example. Great example, Aaron. Putting together an accountant, lawyer, real estate agent, buyer, broker, all to bring together the house buying experience, absolutely, or any real estate. So both of these are real world examples. You both contributed to those. Thank you. By the way, family is a real world example too. So I'm going to give you that one. Okay. And then finally, you can produce more together. All right. Here's something I'll share with you. Okay, I've got nutshell brainery going on here, right? You see this studio, you see this expensive camera that's not working right now with my expensive computer and so on and so forth. I'm a one-man operation. There is only so much I can do alone. And I think I've pretty much found my outside boundary of what I can accomplish alone. Which means that if I really want to grow Nutshell Brainery and provide more videos and more podcasts to students and so forth, I need help. I need a team. Now, it's hard to find that. It's hard to pull that together and so forth, but that's a different topic. The point is, I can only do so much alone, and you can only do so much alone. At a certain point, you need the help of others. But when you bring in the help of others, not only can you do more, but the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. That more becomes more valuable, more effective, more efficient. Okay. So teams are awesome. Great. Fantastic. Marvelous. Yeah, but except when they're not, right? So here, let me come on down here so we can get that out of the way. All right. Here are the challenges with teams. It takes time to learn to work together. It totally takes time to learn to work together. You can't just walk into a room and say, we're a team, huzzah, right? I know that like with the Jazz, they're always talking about this is a building season. This is a building year or things like that because it takes time to really build a team. Next one, potential for conflict. Well, not only is there the potential for conflict, you actually want conflict. It's a desirable thing. We're going to talk more about that, but you need to manage it. And even when it's desirable, it's unpleasant. We're going to talk more about that. Decisions take longer. Oh, yeah, hell to the yeah, right? They totally take longer. So like when I'm a one-person operation with Nutshell Brainery, I make a decision, I move on. Whereas if I need to confer with 3 or 4 other people, oh my gosh, this is going to be a 20-minute conversation at best, right? Groupthink, tendency to agree rather than to think critically, right? So we're going to do a deep dive into this. And apparently Matt agrees. Not this year. This year we're going for the cup. That's right. It is not a building year. All right. Good deal. I think Matt is our resident MBA expert. That's good to know. Okay. So listen, trust me when I say you really want to work on an effective team. You want to work on an effective team because it is so much easier, so much more pleasant, and so much more effective than fighting and wrangling and so on and so forth, right? So, that's right, Riley. Let's talk about how we can actually build an effective team. But to do that, we first need to understand the barriers, all right? I'm going to describe some barriers that are preventing you from working on an effective team in many ways, all right? And that's not the right button. This is the right button. Okay. Conformity and groupthink, all right? This is when we're acting in coordination and agreeing with one's group. In other words, we don't challenge, we don't disagree, we don't push harder, we don't, dig deeper and so forth. Why? Because we want to conform. We want to avoid the pressure or rejection by the rest of the group. We want to, meet the group objective as quickly as possible. So one thing that we do in our family every fall, we watch Halloween movies. We like Halloween movies, and they're fun. Not the super scary ones, just fun ones. And this couple days ago, we watched World War Z with Brad Pitt. Better than you might think, okay? It's a decent little movie. The book was awful. The movie's not bad. And in World War Z, the Israelis kind of see this thing coming. They see this zombie pandemic coming along. And so Brad Pitt, who's this UN investigator, he flies out to Jerusalem to find out, hey, how did you know this was coming? How were you able to prepare so early and effectively? And he's talking with the guy who made this all happen, high-ranking dude in the Mossad, right? That's the Israeli CIA, Secret Service, whatever. And he says, okay, listen, we have this system called the 10th man. Now, this is all fiction, guys. All right? There is no 10th man system. There are no zombies. Just fiction. But it's an interesting idea. He said, listen, back in the 1930s, we thought there was no way in the world we were going to be rounded up and put into concentration camps. And then in the 1970s, we thought there was no way in the world that the Arab countries were going to push us into the sea. And in Germany during the Olympics, we thought there was no way possible that, our athletes would be murdered and so forth. And we thought this and we thought this. And so he said, we put together this system called the 10th man. And the 10th man says, whenever there is a national security threat, if 10 people in the room all think one way, that this threat is not real, then it is the duty and responsibility of the 10th man to assume that the threat is real, right? In Israel, whatever. And furthermore, to muster all the resources that he can to prevent or mitigate, prepare for this threat that everybody else thinks is ridiculous. Therefore, they saw this memo about zombies taking over the world, and 9 of the 10 people said, this is ridiculous, there are no zombies, and the 10th man was morally obligated by the system to disagree and to prepare for it. Okay, so I just talk about that because I think it's cool. But here's the idea. We don't want to be the 10th man, right? Do yourself a favor. Watch someday. It's a good movie to watch. It's an old movie, but watch it. Watch 12 Angry Men. 12 Angry Men. Great movie where it's a jury trying to decide life or death for a defendant. And one juror out of the 12 or whatever, out of the one juror is disagreeing and not wanting to convict, while everybody else is like, it's clear he's obvious. It's obviously he's guilty. Let's just vote and move on. Incredible movie. This is a very long-winded way, and I apologize, but I think this stuff's cool. To say, listen, it's hard to be the one who steps up and says, I think we need to look at this a little deeper. I'm not sure this is the right direction. Have we considered all the things that we need to? Okay, that's one barrier. All right, next one, status. You know what? Yeah, when somebody who is in a position of status speaks up, it's really easy to just get behind this person and not challenge anything, right? Maybe the person has a formal position within the organization, right? Or maybe their interpersonal skills are just awesome. Or they're like totally charming and charismatic. They're smart. They're handsome and beautiful as all get out, right? The point is, there are a variety of ways that we kind of communicate status, and there are a variety of ways that we kowtow to status and get behind them when they start to kind of set the direction. And one person's direction is never as good as a direction discussed with the group, with the team. All right, next one. Hidden agendas. We all have hidden agendas, folks. All of us, right? Secret wishes, hopes, desires, and assumptions that individuals don't want to share with the group. So, for example, right? Maybe you have a hidden agenda to get on a team with somebody because you know that they work someplace that you want to work one day. Maybe you kind of figure out, hey, Aaron seems to have had lawn in a class before. My guess is Aaron kind of has lawn dialed in and can help us get that A, right? So maybe I want to be on Aaron's team. Nobody did this. I'm just saying these are examples, right? Or if we're in a lecture class and you're like, wow, so-and-so's really kind of cute. I wonder if they're single. I want to get on their team, right? There's all kinds of things that we bring, our own agendas that we bring to a team that we don't necessarily share with the team and tend to drive us individually more than the team objective. So that's what we mean by individual agendas, okay? So, all right. We want to overcome these. I'm going to give you the 5 keys to great teamwork. All right. So what I'm saying, sorry, wrong button. It's that day today. What the hell? Do me a favor, write down these 5 things as we go through them. And when you meet with your team, put a little check box by each one, and when you practice it, put a check by it, right? In other words, try to make these behaviors part of your team dynamic, all right? So list out the 5, put a little box by it, and in your team meeting, whenever you exhibit this behavior, check it, right? So let's look at these. These will take good care of you. All right, first one is, well, lo and behold, it's freaking to communicate. Well, yeah, it's a communication class, right? But listening and contributing in equal measure, building relationships, discussing, debating, decision-making, so forth. Let me tell you the one part of this that I'd like to share the most, and that is listening, okay? Here's the thing about listen. It's a verb. To listen is a verb, and a verb is an action word. So, if to listen is an action word, then that means that I should be able to observe somebody listening. And just so you know, sitting quietly is not listening, because that can be daydreaming, that can be thinking, about who knows what, that can be who knows. Right? So here are some good tips for how to listen. Body language, eye contact, of course, right? We know about that. Two of my favorites, clarifying questions. So you're going to talk about a lot of things, and it's going to all be going through the speaker's filter and the listener's filters. And as a result, there will not be perfect understanding. Clarifying questions are things like, okay, earlier, Braden asked, would family groups work? So that's a clarifying question. All right, we're talking about groups and we're talking about teams. Would family constitute a group, right? And yes, it does. And in fact, it can be both formal and informal, depending, right? We won't go into the nuts and bolts of it, but that's a clarifying question. So it's you probing to make sure that you're understanding things correctly. Second one is reframing questions or reframing what you've heard. This is my favorite, is if somebody's discussing something and explaining it, and then you can pause and say, okay, if I hear you correctly, the main things I'm picking up is this is our primary problem, this is what you think the best solution would be, and if we pursue that solution, we need help from A, B, and C. And it summarizes the key elements of what you have heard. The great thing about this is that it allows the person to kind of go, yeah, that's it exactly. Or, well, okay, no, you got the problem right, but let me talk through this part again. In other words, they now know what they need to express in a different way. The thing about communicating is that we're all muddling our way through this, folks. Half the time when we're explaining something, we're trying to figure it out in our own heads. And so we might be babbling or rambling or going through twisty turns to our journey to the end point. And by reframing it back, you're able to say, okay, I followed you all the way through. This is where I ended up. Are we in the right place? So practice listening, practice communicating, and, build relationships, discuss, debate, make decisions together, things like that. Okay, second one, engagement. Everyone fully contributes their skills and talents to reach objectives. Attending meetings, speaking up, brainstorming, conducting research, taking on roles and responsibilities. You know what? Anybody who engages is of value, and if everyone engages, you're just about guaranteed to have a successful team, because everybody has skin in the game. They're contributing their skills. They are helping to reach the end objectives. And so you want to demonstrate to your team that you are all in, you're there, and that you're prepared to deliver your skills to the end objective. So consider that, especially taking on roles and responsibilities. When something needs to be done, raise your hand, right? Others will raise their hand as well. You won't be the only one raising your hand. All right, next one. Managing conflict. Okay, so here's the thing with conflict is it's actually good. It's really good. Conflict and discussion and debate is how we come up with innovative, effective solutions. So one of the things I like to tell my students is I've got good news, bad news, and good news. All right. Here's the good news. All the easy problems have been solved. We've been doing business for centuries. Trust me, in those centuries, we have solved all the easy problems. That's the good news. The bad news is the only problems that are left are the wicked, complex, ambiguous, vague, ever-changing problems. They're the only ones that are left, and there's no textbook to tell you how to solve that problem. The good news, people will pay you a lot of money to solve the wicked, difficult, ambiguous problems. Okay? However, those problems and those solutions, those innovative solutions, are not going to come up because you're just sitting around and thinking of ideas. They're going to come up because smart people with good ideas, reasonable people who are committed to the team and committed to the objective are going to wrangle and give out ideas and challenge and support and things like that. And through doing that, some really awesome solutions are going to come to play. However, you need to manage the conflict. Make sure that you stay on the business problem, that it doesn't get emotional, that it doesn't get personal. We want to stay on the business problem. Keep the North Star in sight, the objective of the team. So long as you manage the level of emotional vitriol and stay on the problem, you're going to be okay. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be fun, but you're going to come up with great solutions. Okay. Next one, shared understanding. Oh, I cannot stress to you enough how important and how valuable it is to a team to have a shared understanding of what your goal is, what you're working toward, and how you're going to do it, okay? Most of the time when I find teams suffering and struggling, it's because there is not a shared understanding of what you're working toward, how you're going to do it, and who's going to be doing what. People feel kind of lost and disjointed, and they're not sure who's doing what or why or how this all comes together. A shared understanding really helps people see what they're doing in relation to what everybody else is doing in relation to the overall objective. So you really want to take the time to make sure you have shared understanding. Also, remember, reasonable people can totally disagree. Reasonable people can totally disagree, right? So just because you are disagreeing with somebody or somebody disagrees with you, it's not personal. It's not because they're an idiot. It's not because you're wrong and you have to somehow or another, right? It's just reasonable people can disagree, but by coming together and developing a shared understanding, you can at least get folks on the right page. Finally, accountability. All right. Hold yourself and others accountable. And we're talking about individual and shared accountability. Right now, great ways to do this is by keeping an agenda and keeping minutes. So whenever you meet and you decide who's going to do what by when, you record that in your minutes, and so that way you can hold yourself and others accountable. Now, these are some of the tools that you're going to be learning about, especially next week. Next week talks a lot, although this week you've already started learning about effective meetings and meeting minutes and how they help move folks from forming to storming and storming to norming. Use these tools. They really help in accountability. Okay? So, as I said, I hope you wrote down those 5 things, put a little checkbox by them, and when you're in the meeting, hold yourself accountable to kind of use these tools. All right? So, there you are. Like I said, and yeah, it's a short lecture today. Once again, I apologize about the technology. By the way, we're done. But I'm going to tell a story real quick if you want to stick around. But if you don't, it's okay. Batman ring. You notice my Batman ring, and oh yeah, there's Batman right there. Why Batman? Well, a whole bunch of cool reasons. But one of the things is, they say Batman doesn't have a superpower. Okay, fine. Or my superpower is I'm rich. All right, whatever. No. He actually does. I maintain that one of Batman's superpowers is contingency planning. Now, think about a Batman cartoon or the movies or the comic books. There's a regular sort of formula to how Batman operates, which is somebody bad does something bad. He goes in and, oh, thank you, Aaron. Thank you. He goes in and he confronts the bad guy and he gets his butt handed to him. Batman always, just about always, loses and loses bad in his first confrontation with the bad guy. Well, is this because he's naive and full of hubris and thinks that he can do anything? No. In many ways, he's doing data collection. He's just checking out the arena. He's looking at the environment. He's figuring out what are his opponent's strengths and weaknesses. And he's in there just assessing his opponent. And his goal is to get out alive. Because then what he does is he goes back to his bat cave and he figures out every possible contingency that the bad guy could do, puts in place mitigation strategies, and then goes back and then this time wins. Okay? So it's just a little life lesson. Yes, you guys were awesomely patient with me and my technology issues, but always have a backup camera, right? Doesn't hurt to have a backup camera. So you can always kind of have contingency plans in place. All right, everyone, have a fantastic day. I will stick around if you have any questions or anything. Aaron, thank you very much. I appreciate your encouragement there from this short lecture. And in the meantime, everyone, have a fantastic rest of the week, and more importantly, have a fantastic weekend. We'll see you later.